Hello and welcome to another episode of Sanity Killer Projects. Today's video we're going to talk about the recall for the electronic power steering that I had already taken care of and some issues that I had with it. This video is going to be more of a rant. We're not actually really going to fix anything. I'm just going to talk about some stuff that went on with this recall. So as you can see, this 2023 Honda Civic Sport has about 13,000 miles on it. We commute a lot. We drive about 100 miles per day for work, 50 miles each direction. It has a steering issue, which is why when I got the recall notification, which I will tag in the description, both of the two shorts that we did on those, we took it in to see what was going on with it. So as I mentioned in the short, when you're driving along and you're holding the wheel, at some point when you get the steering wheel into the right position, it gets really, really stiff and then jerks when you go to move it to the next position. Just for like minor corrections, driving down the road, you make slight hand motions as you're going along to keep the wheel straight, and you can actually kind of see it there. It jerks as I'm pulling the wheel. It does the same thing while going down the road. So this is why when I got the recall notification, I took it in, because I figured that there was something associated with it. So if you've gotten the recall notification, there's a very, very small window of cars that fall within it. And if it does fall within it, what they end up doing is they end up flashing your system. By flashing the system, it tells your electronic steering system to count the turns a different way so that it doesn't overextend the wheel travel one direction or the other. It's actually a smart thing to go in and get that recall done. It's not something to be done through a laptop or at home. You actually have to take it to the dealer to get it done. In our case, we didn't fall within that small window of numbers that end up being the ones that are causing the steering issue. Our steering issue is something completely unrelated, and it's almost silly. It actually is annoying the crap out of me, so this is part of the reason why I'm making this video ranting about it. So as you guys may know from watching the channel, we're sponsored by a company called FitCamx. They make these aftermarket cameras. I have nothing against this camera. I have nothing against the way it works. It works great. It functions great. But somehow or other, it's interfering with the camera that is up here. And this camera up here, it's used for the steering system when your car is in the mode to allow the steering to be done by the car without you doing it. And as you can see, I have it off. So I'm going to turn it on so that you can see the icon, how it works. Right there, that little icon, the steering wheel with the road that came up on the right there. That means that when I'm driving down the road, the car is now taking over steering for me. And what it's doing is it's using this camera up here to see the lines in the road, and it uses that for tracking. Okay, so this camera in here is from Honda. It's part of their system. And you can't do anything with it. You can't use it in your display. You can't look at it. It's only used for this steering system. It's not used for any other purpose. So my normal driving conditions would be with this off, because I don't trust electronic stuff. I don't like a lot of it. As you can see, there's the one that gives you the warning for when you're too close to a vehicle. That one you have to turn off every time. So I don't end up turning that one off. I leave it on. And the automatic stop start, when I drive, I have that turned off because I don't like the engine starting and stopping. It ruins the starters. All right, with all the explanation out of the way, here's what my complaint is. If I have the steering system off to where I am manually steering, why is the Honda camera getting interference from the RF signal being sent out from the internet that's on this camera? This camera is doing its job. This camera is not. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Why did they build something, a camera, that's tied into your steering system that can be interfered with by an RF signal? This thing sends out internet. It sends out internet so that this camera can watch the video while I'm driving down the road, or so that it monitors and makes it so that this camera, which is also a phone, can use the app so that I can see the video that's been recorded from the camera. What happens because of this interference is, over time, if I turn this camera off, the steering goes back to normal. But after an amount of time, the camera up here comes out of calibration and the wheel starts getting hard. If I leave this camera, the FitCamx camera, on, then it interferes with this camera the entire time, and I get a weird jerk in the steering wheel when it's in a certain position in the clock position, which is generally straight up and down. If I'm one way or the other, it doesn't seem to interfere with it. So for right now, what I've been doing is turning off the camera so I get most of my drive actually normal, and then the last 10 miles of it or so, the steering wheel system comes out of calibration, and then I start getting the hard spot in the wheel. So the only thing that I know as the fix for this problem is I'm gonna have to take all of this back apart, and I'm gonna have to go back through the FitCamx camera system. Not because their stuff is the problem, because Honda stuff is the problem. What I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to put RF shielding tape over the backside of their camera, all of my wiring, and the camera computer chip so that it's only sending signal downward and not upward towards the camera. That makes absolutely no sense. This car would be driving with no need for that camera. Why is this camera having anything to do with the calibration of my steering if the steering system thing is not on? That makes absolutely no sense. It literally feels to me like Big Brother watching you. I don't need Big Brother to be watching me, especially when I'm not asking for the car's system, the functionality of the system, to be assisting me in any way. So there's my rant. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you're having issues with your Honda steering system, let me know in the comments. We could talk about it. I also always recommend FitCamx cameras. They're cheap, inexpensive, and work great with your system. Obviously, in this case, it doesn't like this camera that's up here. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll keep making more content.